I'm putting my vine plants, pumpkin, squash, watermelons, cantaloupe, around the outside of the rock bed, my flower gardens. So I've already planted a few. I've got here some acorn squash blend, which I've never had in my life actually, so that's going to be interesting. And here I've got another of the same. Here I've got a pie pumpkin, and here I've got I think I grabbed a large pumpkin there, and then here I've got a pie pumpkin. I mixed them up accidentally. Here I've got a large pumpkin, which I accidentally hit with the weed whacker. You gotta be careful. I was whacking the weeds. At least the bulk of the plant is still alive anyway. It'll live. I was whacking the weeds and or the grass here because I want to get the entire yard cleaned up. So I'm gardening and cleaning as I go. And then I'm going to plant, I've got here a butternut squash, another butternut squash, and then I've got 2 watermelons, and that'll complete the ground cover around the flower garden, the rock garden. Because around here there's nothing growing out here at all. And excuse me for not moving these. I'm still nursing my rib, and these are heavy and huge, and they're not a high priority. I did enough moving out in the forest. Oh no, termites. Do you see them? Right there, termites. They move in fast. Here's what I mean, guys, when I said I can't put wood stakes in the ground. This has only been down for, what, a month or two? Month and a half? And it's already got termites all through it. This is what I mean. So you can't be messing around with wood in the ground around here. It won't last. They're already eating that. The termites out here are bad. Now, people are concerned about the tiny house on wheels. It's off the ground. Termites, I've studied, like to have moist wood and touching the ground, so the house should be safe. This whole tree, this whole piece is termite infested. Now they'll probably clear out because it's in the air now, and it'll dry out. But the termites out here are very, very bad. There's actually the rest of the termite nest. Not sure where they went now, but they actually had a full-fledged nest out here. And yeah, the insect life out here is pretty brutal, trying to fight it back and claim it as mine. So I want to plant all the vines here, and then over here I'm going to have some more. I have a whole mess of cantaloupe, which I'll extend out into this area a little bit. And I've been cleaning up these piles. This is where I had the raccoon traps. I've been picking away at that. I'm going to clear all that out, but I'm going to extend the cantaloupe and vine plant range out around the rock bed a ways. I think it'll look nice. It'll provide ground cover and greenery around here and cover up this drab dead zone. Now this of course is starting to grow. That's why I'm cutting here. Over here where I was just cutting never did grow anything before, and look at how lush it's becoming. Because the trees are gone, there's growth coming. Here there was never anything green here, so it's coming. Here is slowly starting to come in. So I want to plant my vines around this area as ground cover before that stuff takes over, and then I'll heavily mulch it, and then I'll have some plants growing. And then later on, after that's done, I'm going to get out here and I'm going to plant out in the garden, the actual garden. I'm going to put some vines along the edges of the garden, and that'll of course again provide ground cover and help keep the weeds down a little bit better. And then my tomatoes along in the middle here, and see how it all goes. So a lot to do now. I still got a lot of mulching to do around all these plants, a lot of lettuce to eat. It's really taken off. It rained last night, so the rain is going to help keep the tarps down, and that'll help out a lot. I got all my vines in around the rock garden. I still have to cover them with mulch and water them. Hopefully nature will do that for me later on. So that's going to be a nice, beautiful, thick ground cover all the way around. And then out in the garden, I've got a ton of tomatoes planted. And I've got to get some mulch out here. What I've done right now, because of time constraints, is I've just planted them. I think you can see them sticking up there. And I've spaced them about 18 inches apart each in all directions, roughly. Some are more, some are less. Anyway, I've got a whole mess of different types here, different varieties. And there's a whole lot of tomatoes here. So I got to get mulch around them. That's the next priority, is mulch heavily around these so the grass and weeds don't grow back up. I've also got around the borders, I've got a bunch of different, I've got pickling cucumbers here along the edges, and they'll be able to climb the fence. I've put a stake by each one. And more pickling cucumbers. And over here I've got, what were these? These weren't labeled. I think they were melon. I think they were cantaloupe or melon. They weren't labeled. And there's another batch. I'm going to have to heavily mulch around them to be able to contain and control this mess, this madness here. So this will stay down until I'm ready to proceed with planting the next section here. Felix the cat. And Squeak. Squeak's always got to show up. Felix loves my shoes. Been working all day out here. I moved the cardboard out of this row, and actually cardboard, if nothing else, prepares the soil nicely for you. I moved it all over here to cover up this section that was not yet covered, and I'll probably empty out this section as well, depending on how much I need. There's a rodent been living down here. Don't know how well this shows up, but you can see the curved tunnel he has made under the cardboard, and he's got some holes here and there. There's another little tunnel way, and I've seen some holes in here. That's probably a mouse or a rat. Oh, there's a hole right there. So that's not cool. Hopefully it'll leave. Now what I did here is just weed whacked really tight to the ground, and then I'll have to mulch heavily when I'm done putting the plants in, and then around all my herbs like I did here. That's turned out pretty successful here. I have a few weeds coming up, and I have to just pull them out as they come, but it's pretty successful. So I'm just going to carry that on with the rest of the garden, and it's going to take a lot of work, but I will get it. It's definitely coming further now that I got the leaves and the idea of pumping the leaves on top of there. Now if I can get some topsoil onto here, this row will be an actual back to Eden style row, and these will start building up, these other two rows. And then what I've done here, I'm going to do here once the weeds and ground cover die out here. It's still not too late. I'll let that sit for a week or so, and then I'll plant it with from seeds with beans and peas and corn and root vegetables. That'll be what's under these tarped areas. But for now I want to get the seedlings in that I have. So nobody said Back to Eden is going to be an easy job. I never claimed it either. But I'm definitely got a lot of bees out here. That's a good thing. That's really good with all these flowers I've got. I'm working on my no-till garden this year. Some of you may remember the area I covered with cardboard a couple weeks ago to kill off everything. And I cleared off the cardboard here that I had down. I put it off in a separate area of the garden to prepare that. And I planted a row of peppers, tomatoes, and cauliflower. And now I'm taking the leaf cover that I had put on the cardboard and putting it here around between the plants that I put in. And that'll keep the weeds from growing and provide fertilizer as it decays. There's a lot of earth in here and a lot of fertile soil as well that I dug up when I scraped off the leaves. So it's a very, very fertile mixture what I'm putting on here. The ground out here is very fertile anyway, as you saw with the rampant weeds that were going wild here. I'm burying my plants up to their necks in leaves so that only they reach any sun. Nothing else. Hopefully we'll have any sunlight on them at all when I'm done. And in there is a very fertile bed. And then next I'll plant this other row with some zucchini that I have, and some we got zucchini and summer squash plants. This is truly progress this year. Now that I got the idea to use the leaves. Major progress this year. And of course the cardboard that kills everything in the meantime for me. Well, that's planted. It's pretty good. Now I should have a reduced weed problem this year. And once that settles, give it a week or so, once that settles, I'll add mulch on top. So let these plants grow up out of there, and then I'll mulch, and then I'll just keep on building up higher and higher levels through the coming years, and that is the Back to Eden style gardening. This is just the beginning. It's going to take years to get it properly done. This is just the beginning of work for this. Now over here, let me grab my camera. I'm combining the Back to Eden style no-till garden. Now here I haven't mulched yet. You can see how thick, it's about a 4-inch thick layer of leaves. I'm combining the Back to Eden style no-till garden technique with the square foot garden technique. So I've got rows that I can reach in from on either side and harvest my plants, so I can plant more densely than I normally would have. And especially with the soil being so fertile, and with the leaf mold and mulch that I'm putting on top, it'll add to the nutrients. So it'll be very successful, I think, this year. Now over here, and I can step across that easily, this is where I'll lift up all the cardboard and put it out in the borders where I haven't covered it yet with tarps, and then that'll kill off any plants, any weeds and stuff. This should be well prepared, pretty well. Now I'm going to take the rest of the leaves here and cover around the tomatoes that I've planted. The tomatoes are just literally planted in the grass. I did not till, but this was tilled last year, so it's very soft soil and easy to work. So I just planted, there's 36 tomato plants here, various types. And then I'm going to just take all this leaf cover, mulch that heavily. Shouldn't be anything growing up in between after that, and keep on going. How's that for some progress at the off-grid homestead? I've got zucchini and summer squash, and then burpless cucumbers along the back of the last 2 rows. And here I had the various types of peppers, tomatillo, I don't know what those are, but I tried them out this year, and a whole mess of tomatoes. Then the herbs that I had from last year that are growing well, and then what I just showed you. And then some non-herbal plants that I put in here as ground cover last year just for fun. My salad bed that's growing from last year from seed, some herbs from last year, and then a whole mess of tomatoes. Now you can see how thick I've got the cover on them, on those tomatoes. I still got to haul some wheelbarrow loads, 4 inches thick of leaves, and it'll stop this grass from coming through. And as you can see, this is just pure dirt here. I left the cardboard in the middle, and I just pulled it aside on both sides so I could plant the zucchini and squash. And then I'm going to put leaves around them heavily. And that'll be the end for that. This row is almost completely done. I gotta get a wheelbarrow load for that. Probably 2, 3, 4 wheelbarrow loads, maybe 6 here for that. And a few for here. But I'm getting it. And then all that is covered. I took all the stuff and kept moving it back, all the cardboard. So I think this year is going to be better. I have a better plan. I'm learning as I go with no-till gardening. It's not something you just jump in and do, because it can get out of control like it did on me last year. So yeah, it's looking like a garden.